Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Nation's Pastime in the nation's capital. I'm your host, Andrew Snaith, here with my co-hosts, Robbie Cruz and James Higgins, and we have an absolutely exciting show planned for you tonight as we're going to discuss some more of the recent allegations and Astros drama that's going on, along with taking a look at the Hall of Fame Ballot that was just announced, and possibly look at some free agents and possible landing spots as well. But before we get into that, like I said, let's start off with that Astros drama. Guys, pretty crazy week when it comes to that. I know we talked about it last week and how we thought that it was pretty severe and how we thought some punishments had to be handed out. Oh my goodness, were we underestimating the situation?
We also, we had no idea the severity of it last week.
Unbelievable the level that we are at right now with the information that we've gotten in the past week here.
I think that everybody who's listening out there knew how disgusted as a Yankee fan that I was. I think that this is absolutely abysmal. I think it's a disgrace, and honestly, I'm embarrassed to be a baseball fan right now because the Astros just, what they did was, it was terrible. However, at the end of the day, I do think that the Astros will face some severe punishment, and it looks worse and worse for them as the day goes on.
Okay, I think they definitely need to face severe punishments, but I do not think their World Series title should be revoked.
I agree.
I still don't think their World Series title or Altuve's MVP should be revoked. But it's interesting to see what the punishment will be and for who. Like, for how many people will be punished within the organization. And it will be interesting to see how far up it went. And I presume it went up all the way to owner Jim Crane and GM Jeff Luhnow. But how much they knew, we don't know. We know that it went up, that one of that someone in the front office sent an email to one of the scouting directors before the 2017 postseason about the use of cameras. We don't know how far up it went. I wonder if any players will be suspended, if any players were involved. I'm not sure if you guys... Okay, my stance on it is that, yes, it crossed the line and it was very bad, but the reports that came out yesterday via Reddit and via Joel Sherman of the New York Post about the electronic buzzers is what really crossed the line. No matter what, it was awful, but this was next step awful. So yesterday, Carabas posted these screenshots on Twitter. So these were 27 days ago. 27 days ago was October 24th, which was the Thursday in between games 2 and 3 of the World Series, and that also happened to be the day Brandon Taubman was fired as Houston Astros assistant general manager after his DV comments for Roberto Osuna. And so on October 24th, these two comments were mysteriously left on Reddit under the user meme-engineer.
Yes.
Edited 26 days ago. There were two comments. The first comment was, I feel like the Astros lineup has the ability to guess which pitch is coming correctly more than any other lineup in baseball. Now, that might just look innocent, and a lot of people would say that, but the second one is what really gets you thinking. I don't know how much I believe the electronic buzzers thing. It hasn't picked up much traction. I personally don't believe it, but I could be wrong.
So you don't think the photo of Robinson Chirinos with what appeared to be the buzzer was...
I didn't see the photo. I didn't see the
photo. Okay.
But here's the Reddit comment. I had a dream a couple weeks back when Astros were playing the Rays. It was after that postseason finished, a news story came out that the Astros had a team of people deciphering signs with cameras, and then that team relayed the signal to transponders that were worn in cleats of the top. Trusted not to snitch Astros players. The transponders would vibrate according to what pitch was coming. Example, once for fastball, twice for off speed. But it was just a dream. Ha ha ha. That wouldn't happen. So it's just interesting the timing of all that. I wouldn't put it past Brandon Taubman to do that. If they did do it with the electronic buzzers, that's a step above everything, and the punishments need to be much more severe than if they didn't use electronic buzzers. Because I think that's a step above everything else. Like the cameras in the trash can is one thing. But the electronic buzzers are a whole other thing, and if that's the case, Hinch needs to be suspended for the year. Some people are saying he needs to be banned for life. Does he need to be banned for life? Potentially. We'll see. That'll be interesting.
My thing is, it's just I want to know who else is going to be facing some kind of punishment.
Well, I think Cora and Beltran will both be fined, but I don't think they'll be. I think the guys facing punishment will be Hinch, Jeff Luhnow, Jim. If owner Jim Crane knew about it, I don't think he would have known about it. But if owner Jim Crane,
are you sure about that? Because honestly, Jim Crane showing today at the GM or at the winter meetings that he
didn't want to talk about anything, but that doesn't mean he knew anything.
No, I know, but he seemed very avoidant of the subject, which I know does make sense.
No, because they just don't want to say anything that'll
incriminate him. Worse. Yes, of course.
Yeah. Because I'm sure he obviously knows everyone who knew about it now because his team is under investigation, but we can't say that he knew about it. Like, it's much different from the owner and the GM. I do think general manager Jeff Luhnow did know about it, and obviously AJ knew about it, and how involved he was, that's a big question. I don't think any of the players should be punished. Some people think they should be suspended, but I don't think any of the players should be suspended unless there were multiple players like highly participating in the electronic bandage thing.
Well, my thing is that we've seen so many players who have used the kind of cheating format. It looks like every time there's a different video of a player on the Astros cheating, it's somebody different. So I don't see how you can how this could directly affect a certain person because there are so many people it appears to have been involved. I don't think that they're going to take away the World Series trophy. It does look like somebody, AJ Hinch possibly, is going to be facing a year-long suspension, which would be absolutely phenomenal.
Year-long?
Yes.
Wow.
I'm
not saying I disagree with you.
It could be year-long. It could be a lifetime ban.
Yeah.
It really could be.
I don't think it's going to be that bad, but it's very possible. Do not rule anything out, especially with Rob Manfred as commissioner.
Yeah, that's certainly for certain. I mean, I feel like it could go either way, but at the same time, it definitely depends on the role that Hinch actually had in it, of course, like we said. If it's something that he knew was going on and just kind of allowed, I could see the year thing like you said, but if it's something he fully orchestrated, easily you could be looking at a lifetime ban. That's up there on the same offense of stuff that was happening in the past that people got banned for. That's the thing, though.
I don't think that Hinch was responsible for all this. I think he knew about it and kind of encouraged it. I don't think AJ Hinch went out of his way to say, hey, we need somebody who can possibly help us cheat. Now, if any of you guys read that Ken Rosenthal article, it states that there was a new player on the Houston Astros in 2017 who came over, was struggling, and then he kind of implemented this thing into their
You want to know who I think it was? I don't think it was who you're going to say. I think it was Carlos Beltran because they said it was someone who's had success doing it with other teams before, and Beltran had been around the league for a long time.
And here's the thing.
If he was people think he was heavily involved in this. So look during the ALCS, someone interviewed Bregman, and he talked about how Beltran was, quote, helping the scenes behind the Yankees a lot, helping the Yankees behind the scenes a lot. And they're like, oh, what do you mean? And he just wryly smiled and he was like, he helped them a lot the last 2 years.
Now, but here's the thing though. Beltran, what year did Carlos Beltran go to the Astros?
Just 2017.
Okay, it was 2017. Yeah. Okay, because what they did say was it was a guy who came to the Astros in 2017. He started the year off struggling, and then he kind of implemented this, and then he got off to a really hot streak after that. Now, I believe it could be. I think Carlos Beltran's a very strong candidate for it. I think I didn't really think about that.
Well, but especially when you look at it, there's not a lot of people it could be.
Exactly. The other guy I was going to say was Josh Reddick, solely because he came to the Astros from the Los Angeles Dodgers. He started the year out in a mad slump, and he finishing .314 about halfway into the season. So that's kind of why I think it's Reddick, because he started out struggling so poorly, and then he got so hot so quickly. Beltran would make sense, and there is a lot of evidence pointing towards Beltran, but I mean, I guess we'll have to see what happens. There's no definitive answer at the moment.
Yeah, and we did see, of course, a quote from Manfred today on potential discipline. According to Jeff Passan on Twitter, Manfred said, "The general warning I issued to clubs I stand by. It certainly could be all of those things, but my authority under the Major League Constitution would be broader than all those things as well." And then Jeff Passan added at the bottom layer, translation, he has the authority to hammer teams. Manfred said on the gravity of the allegation against the Astros, any allegation that relate to a rule violation that could affect the outcome of a game or games is the most serious matter. We have what is going on to be a really, really, really thorough investigation ongoing. So it seems like Manfred is very serious about this. It seems like some serious punishments are definitely going to be handed out as expected, as like we said in the past week, this whole thing is just absolutely blown up and unraveled. And it's not helping the fact that as more and more allegations are coming out, other people are going back, looking at video clips, looking at replays, and finding more and more examples of them possibly cheating. I mean, it doesn't help that you have, in the beginning, maybe a few people who were looking for that, but now it seems like the entire world going back. It seems every day you find a new video on, whether it be Reddit or Instagram or YouTube or whatever, of someone saying, oh, here's another potential example of them cheating, like we saw earlier with the Robinson Chirinos picture this week, and other videos last week of I believe it was actually 2019 footage as well, where they believe they found some potential instances.
And did you see the screenshots from the 2017 World Series documentary about Altuve walking up the stairs with the laptop?
With the laptop and the thing. Yeah, so there was the screenshot from the documentary showed, I think it was Springer or Altuve or someone walking back.
It was Altuve.
It was Altuve. Yeah, it was Altuve. He was walking through
the picture of Correa though.
That wasn't as
incriminating.
Yeah.
But the one with Altuve, he's walking through a hallway. If you haven't seen this, look it up, because he's walking through the hallway, down the stairs, and there's a clear laptop sitting, I believe it was on a table right next to him.
And you see the trash can behind it.
And you see the trash can behind it, of course. With the trash can that they allegedly were beating to make sure players knew that
They might
a
as well throw
fastball
a
or
rock
off-speed was
concert
coming.
in the dugout every time the
Yeah,
breaking ball's
seriously.
coming.
Yeah,
This
seriously,
is-
might as well do
This
it.
is ridiculous.
Sounds like the Houston Astros dugout in here right now. It really does.
What pitch is coming, guys?
Yeah, I think it sounds like a fastball is about to be coming right now. Yeah.
Now it was funny because actually I was on YouTube and I saw a 25-minute long video of compilations of the Astros cheating. Some guy found 25 minutes worth of stuff of them cheating. And literally all you have to do
Wait.
is
This is a 25-minute compilation of just the Astros cheating.
just the Astros cheating. And
Oh my
and the
goodness.
thing is, if you have headphones in, you can hear the trash bang every single time. Now,
Is this just from 2017 or is this from the
Just
past
from
3 years?
2017.
Okay, all right. I was going to say.
just from 2017.
Yeah.
And it looks, like you said, as the day goes on, we're finding more and more information about the Astros cheating. And I'm just intrigued to see when they're going to come with the punishment. When are they going
Well,
to
Manfred
announce it?
wants us to go away, so I would say a couple weeks.
It's got to be a couple weeks or even sooner because Manfred doesn't want this hanging over his head the entire offseason,
Yeah.
especially does not want it going into next season.
You know,
because
I heard somebody say today that they think that a punishment should include the Astros not being allowed to partake in free agency. I don't think that's
I
allowed.
heard a couple punishments that would be like what Ohio State received for Tattoo-Gate in 2011 and banning them from the postseason.
So what? If they win the division, they just don't go
They
to the
would just play
postseason?
162 games and they would only be playing for their paycheck.
Oh, my
Oh, that's
goodness.
really hard. Oh.
Could you imagine that? Hey, if I'm
They
an
deserve
Oakland A
it.
fan, I'd be pretty happy. Maybe
did.
win the division
Yeah.
finally.
And I did talk to a knowledgeable person, and he said that Hinch and the GM should be banned for life, and these players should be suspended 25 games. So it would really set the team back to start the year in 2020.
Players suspended for 25 games, though. Imagine if this is a case where you have almost the entire starting 9 who are participating in it.
But that was his point.
So at that point, you literally have the AAA roster taking the field on opening day.
He really wants them to be punished, and he
I
really
don't,
wants
think, I
it
don't
to be
think it would
known.
go to that far.
I don't think it would go that
I
far.
don't think it
either.
would go
That'd
that
be
far
great to
either,
see.
but it's just interesting.
It is very interesting. I can't think of a punishment that's been like that in baseball history other than just being banned for life. But
Like the
something like
Black
that,
Sox, yeah.
to cripple a team like that from right off the
I do
bat,
like the
unbelievable.
idea of banning them from the postseason, though. Maybe it's just because I'm a Yankee fan, but
So you
it
guys
does
can
make-
win the pennant, yeah.
Yes, but it does make a lot of sense. They cost us the pennant in 2017. The Yankees blew the Astros out in New York, and when they're playing in Houston, the Yankees couldn't. They were hitting everything. You think that?
Starting to see why now potentially.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Which is why they shouldn't be allowed to partake in the postseason because they cost us our postseason.
Yeah, certainly something to think about there. I mean, I'm not sure if the Astros would have lost that series without the aid of their potential cheating, depending, of course, we don't know how in-depth the cheating was. I mean, they were still a very good team that year, and I have to agree with what James and Robbie said earlier. Don't really think the World Series title needs to be stripped, but definitely need some severe punishments going forward, because if I'm Manfred, I have to set the precedent that this kind of stuff just cannot happen in baseball. We said last week, it's unfortunate, but cheating in baseball, it's just been a part of the game for a long
They
time.
did take this a step too far. the
Yes,
Houston
and that's what I'm
Astros.
about to say. It's always been a part of the game, but this is a step too far, and we can't have stuff happening like this, especially in an era where we're so technologically advanced that this kind of stuff is possible.
Now, I mean, I know that there's been a lot of stuff that's happened in the past, but this has to be one of the worst cheating scandals that we've ever seen in the history of baseball. I'm not
Absolutely.
saying
Yes.
I'm not saying it's the worst.
It's
It
up
might
there.
be the worst.
It's
it,
up
it
there.
might be the worst. I
You
don't know.
want to take a look at Black Sox scandal again? Maybe, but I can't think
or
of
the
anything else.
the steroid stuff. I mean,
Well, that wasn't really one thing though. That was, and again,
That was a
if we
bunch
go
of
back,
players.
but that's the thing though with that is we're never gonna know who actually was fully
And
responsible.
guys are still using steroids
And of
right now that we
course.
don't know.
Yeah.
Like this is much worse than steroids. Like if you
Yes.
gave a player an option whether you get beefed up on steroids, you get to know exactly what pitch is coming. I think about 22 billion times out of 10 they're going to take. I want to know what pitch
Yeah.
is
Oh,
coming.
23
'Cause with steroids,
billion
you still
times.
got to guess.
Yes, exactly. And I think so many people look at steroids and they look at baseball. And you know what? Also, we'll discuss
I'm
this
not
in our-
condoning steroids at
No,
all.
no, no,
but
no,
I'm
no,
just
and I'm
saying
not
this,
either.
This is worse than
No,
steroids.
No, but people, I feel like when it comes to baseball and professional sports in general, but mainly baseball, they look at steroids in the sport and they just have this notion that steroids just makes you this unstoppable god,
Well,
and that's
as
not
a pitcher,
true.
it does. As a pitcher, it does.
Okay, fine. As a pitcher, it does.
Much more helps you much more as a pitcher.
But
than as
we
a hitter.
also know that there's a very smaller amount of pitchers who have done it over the course of history than
I
hitters.
agree.
What I'm saying is this notion that steroids swing the bat is just not the case. You still have to be an exceptionally talented baseball player. Now, don't get me wrong. Does it give you an advantage? Absolutely it does. The ability to recover from workouts and build muscle as fast as you can is clearly an advantage when it comes to it. But they don't swing the bat. Like, that's not what decides that. This, on the other hand, being able to know, and as James said, 22 million times to 1, if they're going to decide between building muscle mass to be stronger or whatever and knowing exactly what pitch is coming, they're going to take the knowing exactly what pitch is coming, because at the end of the day, that's just more of an advantage.
I would agree with that. Now, honestly, if I'm being honest, all this talk about the Astros getting in trouble is making me a little bit excited because, they're going to get screwed over, and hey, that helps my New York Yankees.
Yeah, we'll see what actual punishments are handed out.
Ruin them. Ruin the Astros.
Yeah. Well, you have to figure out exactly.
Ban everybody for life.
Ban everyone. Yes, all 25 men on the roster.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think that's definitely the course that we should take here, because that would totally be fair to the fans and the rest of the city.
They deserve it.
Oh, okay. Yes, the fans deserve it. Yeah. You know what? But quick note here. Imagine being a Houston Astros fan right now. I read a comment from a guy on Reddit the other day who made this great post. It was a heavily upvoted post. It was a fantastic read. And he was talking about how he's been an Astros fan since he was a little kid. He grew up in the city. He'd been through thick and thin. And he was talking about how heartbreaking it was for him to see the Astros finally become relevant, to win the World Series in 2017, to be the best team in baseball this year, and of course win the pennant, not win the World Series, and to have players that they're on their team like Bregman, Springer, Altuve, who are becoming household names, to have that happen, and then just the cheating scandal undermine all of that. Imagine this. As a fan right now, how do you react to something like this? How do you go on, be a fan of a franchise after a situation like has occurred in Houston right now? I don't know. I personally don't.
Really, and also, like your reputation is everything as a team, and they had already ruined their goodwill and equity. Like through the Ozuna deal, through other shady things they had done. Like if they had their goodwill and equity, maybe teams wouldn't believe this as much. You know what I'm saying? Maybe like it wouldn't have prompted as deep of an investigation. Maybe people wouldn't be as harsh on them, like in terms of the public, because it's all about reputation, right? Like if an organization I don't know what, like, if someone accused the Miami Marlins of doing this, yes, obviously they have a clean reputation. They're also like not very good. So people with bat an eye, or they might look into it a little bit, but it would go away. But with the Astros, like, I think if you just walked up to a random fan and said this team was accused of, like, Team X was accused of cheating and using cameras, I think 95% of the fans would guess the Houston Astros.
Right,
and it's because they've been having they've had so many scandals with them since 2017. It seems like it's something every single year.
It seems like we've been talking about the Astros since, and not in a good way, like baseball way, like in a drama way, since October at this point. It's been almost a month and a half now. We had the Ozuna thing with their assistant GM apparently going up to a woman and saying how happy he was that Roberto Ozuna, the wife beater, was on their team. Now we have this.
I think I ranted about that on the radio show a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But one thing that I want to point out about that again, Roberto Ozuna did not help the Astros win that game, which is what my problem with it was. He ran up to a random girl.
He's the one who blew it, didn't he?
Yeah, he's the one that blew the game.
To DJ LeMahieu. He gave up the home run.
That's what I said.
Yeah, he gave up the home run to LeMahieu.
Ozuna blew the game, and then a guy comes up to a girl and says, "Thank God we got him." Are you joking right now?
It's just such an a-hole move.
As wrong as it was by Talman, there's a lot more to this story than him just saying that.
Of course, yes.
She works for I believe she works for the organization, right?
Yes.
She had been tweeting a lot of stuff since they acquired Ozuna about how bad the deal was, like even when he was going good and on his roll, and Talman kept biting his lip and he was getting PO'd, and like I'm not. What Talman did was wrong, but it was a lot more than him just going up to her and saying, "I'm so happy we got her." Like this was built up, and like he shouldn't have done it, but it was built up over a year and a half.
Yeah.
And then he finally just burst, I guess, even though he blew the game.
Which, again, makes no sense why he would have said that after Ozuna was the one who literally gave up the 2-run homer to LeMahieu, which was the only reason that Altuve had to walk it off in the bottom of that inning anyway. So, it's been a messy month and a half here for the Houston Astros. Didn't help the fact that they had that with Ozuna, lost the World Series to the Wild Card Nationals, and now we have this cheating scandal. I'm sure that we're going to have more news with the Astros to follow in the coming weeks, and we'll keep you all updated with that. But with that said, let's put a pin in the cheating scandal talk and talk about something a little more positive and happy, and that is the 2020 Baseball Writers Association of America has released their Hall of Fame ballot, and everyone who is available to be voted in, and we got a lot of newcomers this year. It's an interesting ballot, not as surefire as maybe last year's would have been with some of the names, with Rivera, Halladay, and some other guys, but it's a very interesting ballot. So what we're going to do now is we're going to read over the ballot, all the players that are eligible for the Hall of Fame. We're going to go over some of the rules of how to actually vote and get into the Hall of Fame, and then we're going to act like all three of us have a vote, and we are going to give you our picks and make our cases for some of these players. And I assure you there's going to be some disagreement, so we're going to have a very exciting time here.
I'm also sure that we're going to have a disagreement, but James, how about Sean Figgins being on the Hall of Fame ballot? Pretty cool, isn't it?
Where's my guy Marco Scutaro?
Yeah, dude. Where's Marco Scutaro? I agree. Get him on the
But
ballot.
the only reason why I bring up Scutaro is because Heyman was saying like they do screening for these Hall of Fame players, and they put someone like Figgins and Heath Bell on, but not Scutaro. Heyman's point was like just put them all on, and because we know they're not getting 5% of the vote. Just let them get their one shot at the ballot.
Right. It's more of a status thing at that point. I mean, just let him say, "Oh well, I was on the ballot." I mean,
I could see somebody making a case for Heath Bell making the Hall of Fame.
Good God, no! That is asinine and pathetic.
All right.
Could you make the case that he's in the Hall of Fame for his ability to slide into the mound? Because if that's the case, then yes.
Hey, he did lead the league in saves twice.
Yeah. If leading the league in saves twice is Hall of Fame, then I got a list of about 50 people who are making the Hall of Fame.
He did make a few All-Star games,
including the one in Arizona where he slid into the mound. That
we're going to ignore his time with the Miami Marlins. If we focus on his time with the San Diego Padres,
how about belly rolls when he runs? Maybe he's in the Hall of Fame for that.
Almost as good as Todd Coffey sprinting out of the mound. When
okay, let's just move on. We're getting
no.
Oh my God.
So let's take a look at the ballot then, and like I said, it's a pretty interesting one.
Sorry, Heath Bell, love you. You're a good player, but not worthy of the Hall of Fame.
Nothing against Heath Bell.
Very good closer.
Absolutely.
Very good closer
yes.
for a few years, but not worthy of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, for a few years being the key words there. Stuck around a while, but only was good for a couple years. So let's take a look at this ballot. And
would you like me to read the ballot out to everyone?
Wait, you don't consider Sean Figgins a Hall of Famer?
I do not. Would you like me to read the ballot out to everyone?
Well, I have it up. I was going to read it.
Okay.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, so before we note here, the rules for the actual voting is you can vote from anywhere from 0 to 10 players. So you can hand in a blank ballot, you can hand in a ballot with 10, anywhere in between. So with that said, the ballot is as follows, and this is in alphabetical order, and I'll let you know if it's a newcomer as well. The first 3 are all newcomers, and that's Bobby Abreu, Josh Beckett, and Heath Bell, as we mentioned. Next 3, Barry Bonds, newcomer Eric Chavez, Roger Clemens. Then a bunch of newcomers in Adam Dunn, Sean Figgins, Rafael Furcal, Jason Giambi then. He is a newcomer, actually, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that because he hung on at the end of his career at the Rockies and Indians. Next people, Todd Helton, 2 newcomers in Raul Bañez and some guy named Derek Jeter. Not really sure who that is, but he's on the ballot. Followed by Andrew Jones, Jeff Kent, newcomers Paul Konerko, Cliff Lee, Carlos Pena, Brad Penny. Andy Pettitte on the ballot again. J.J. Putz, a newcomer, longtime closer for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Manny Ramirez once again on the ballot. Another newcomer, Baltimore Orioles legend Brian Roberts on the ballot, followed by returning members Scott Rowland, Kurt Schilling, and Gary Sheffield. The last 2 newcomers, Alfonso Soriano, Jose Valverde. And rounding out the list, some more returning faces in Sammy Sosa, Billy Wagner, and on the last year of his ballot, Mr. Larry Walker.
Did you say Omar Vizquel?
Yes.
Omar Vizquel.
Vizquel's on there. Now, one point.
Yeah, I did say Omar.
One
Vizquel,
point I want to
yes.
make. A lot of people forget this, but did you guys know that Brian Roberts was actually caught taking steroids before?
He was.
Yes,
he failed a
he
test.
was on the Mitchell
Yeah.
report, and then he failed another test.
Yes, he was. That's right. I actually forgot about that for a while, but he did fail that test. A couple guys
The
on
New
here
York
failed this
Yankees
test.
have just released Jacoby Ellsbury.
No, they
Breaking
don't.
news
did
from
not.
Megaphone Balls himself, Jeff
What?
Passan.
Wow.
And they have designated Greg Bird for assignment.
Oh,
yes.
my goodness.
So they will
Yes.
now pay Jacoby Ellsbury to
Yes.
sit at home.
Yes.
One of the worst free agent signings of all time.
How much
The
money?
Red Sox decided to not re-sign Jacoby Ellsbury and instead promote Mookie Betts to replace him.
Wow.
So Jacoby Ellsbury, I believe it. Does he have 1 or 2 years left?
Yes,
His
2.
original deal was 7 years, $153 million, and there was an 8-year player option for $169 million, which obviously will not cash in anymore. Sorry for the interruption. Breaking news. So he spent 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 1 more year left at, what's that, $22 million?
22 million.
22
yes.
million. So the Yankees have released Jacoby Ellsbury, one of the worst free agent
Oh,
signings
my
of all time.
goodness.
No All-Star appearances in New York, no MVP appearances in New York, no Gold Glove consideration
Hasn't
in New York,
played
no
in
Silver
3
Sluggers
years.
in New York, has not played a game since 2017, didn't start the 2015 wildcard game, he only pinch hit. I don't believe he started a game in the 2017 playoffs, which means he didn't start a postseason game
Wait,
in
I have
New
a
York.
question. Wait, Jacoby Ellsbury is still alive?
I'm actually not sure at this
Ellsbury
point.
is alive.
Is Jacoby Ellsbury a real person?
He is-
I
he
haven't
is alive.
seen him
He is
swinging
alive.
a baseball bat in God knows how long. I mean, also you got like we said, Greg Bird and Nestor Cortez Jr. also.
Oh, I
designated for
liked
assignment.
Cortez.
Well,
I liked Cortez.
You don't like him anymore because he's gone.
No, I still like him.
That's
I
a
want to
shame.
root for him.
Well, no, that is.
Well, since
very
this
interesting.
will probably mark the end of Jacoby Ellsbury's career, I would like to say I am forever grateful and thankful for his tremendous 2011 MVP-worthy season where he should have won MVP for the Boston Red Sox instead of Justin Verlander. If the Red Sox don't collapse in September, he wins MVP, 31 homers, 105 RBI, Silver Slugger, All-Star, the best season of his career, one of the best seasons ever for a Red Sox outfielder, 30-30 club. Thank you, Ellsbury, for 2 World Series titles in Boston and a heck of a lot more than what you did for the evil umpire, the New York Yankees.
One point I do want to mention is that people are going to keep saying, "Oh my gosh, the Yankees have to pay Jacoby Ellsbury $26 million just to not let him play." It's the New York Yankees; they can afford it.
Yes, I don't think there was any doubt with that. Absolutely. Very interesting, though. I at least thought we'd see him play another game as a New York Yankee, but I got to imagine, Robbie, is most of the New York Yankees nation rejoicing right now?
Ellsbury had no spot on this roster. The outfield was already full as it is. You had Brett Gardner, Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Hicks, Clint Frazier, Aaron Judge, and all these other young folks coming up. Where in the world was Ellsbury going to play?
Left bench.
Glorified pinch runner.
Yeah, there you go.
Ellsbury literally has no ankles right now. The man hasn't played baseball in 2.5 years. That's because he can't run. How in the world would he be a pinch runner if he has no ankles?
Run. I think it's because he's been hurt.
He's had ankle injuries.
Is that why he
yes.
hasn't played? Okay, well,
yes.
I did not know that.
So if he has ankle injuries and hasn't played in 2.5 years, how do you expect him to come back and play just like that and be a pinch runner, James?
Well, this can help us transition to our next segment, Jacoby Ellsbury, class of 2027,
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
His case is pretty strong. He's probably
he
going to go in
hasn't
as a
officially
Yankee
retired
as well.
yet, by the way.
No, he
Red
hasn't.
Sox are going to sign him. They're going to release Jackie Bradley Jr.
No, let him get healthy and go to like the Marlins or Orioles or something. Let him hang on. Get some fans to the stadium to see Jacoby Ellsbury. Why not? You know, I mean, it's not the end of the world. I'm sure that he can sign for league minimum. He strikes me as a guy who wants to stay in the game and, would take one of those contracts just to keep playing.
Would you want... Okay, it's the same thing as Troy Tulowitzki, though, Andrew.
You guys signed him, so don't ask me.
No, I know he signed him, but he tried coming back and he just couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, he didn't
Plus,
even... Did he even
Ellsbury-
play a game?
Tulowitzki?
Did he play a couple Major League games?
Started opening day, I think.
Yeah,
That's right, he did. I forgot.
Tulowitzki played 3 games, I think.
That went well.
But the thing is, I think that Troy Tulowitzki was more durable in his prime than Jacoby Ellsbury.
That's saying something if you're calling Troy Tulowitzki
Who is
I
more
durable.
watched Jacoby Ellsbury in his prime.
Who is more durable?
In his prime, I honestly do. Probably too low.
It was too low.
Probably too low.
Probably played. I'm almost certain he played more games.
He did.
Oh, he definitely
He did.
Yeah.
He was also in the league longer.
Oh my goodness. Yes, he was. He was in the league for a lot longer.
All right,
for
so Tulowitzki had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 complete seasons.
7.
Let's say okay,
I think it's
7.
seven.
Ellsbury, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6. 6 for Ellsbury, 7 for Tulo.
So pretty even.
Wow, honestly, that's a lot closer than I thought it would be there.
All right, Hall of Fame ballots.
All right, yeah, actually, before we get to that Hall of Fame ballot, though, after this breaking news, we're going to take a quick break here on WCUA. But stay tuned. We will have more Nation's Pastime and Nation's Capital when we return. We'll get right into those Hall of Fame ballots. We're going to tell you our picks and why we think certain players are on our ballots, and we'll make some arguments for why some shouldn't be as well. So stay tuned. We're going to have some more right after the break. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Nation's Pastime in the Nation's Capital. I'm your host, Andrew Snaith, here with my co-hosts, Robbie Cruz and James Higgins. And like mentioned before the break, we are going to get right back into that Hall of Fame discussion. We read out the names before the break, and now we are going to give our picks for who we believe should make the 2020 class in the Baseball Hall of Fame. So, with that said, who would like to start? You want me to start, guys, or does someone else
I'm going
wanna-
last. How
You want to
about
go
that?
last?
I was going to go second.
You go second? All right, fine. I guess I'm starting then. And let me just bring up my ballot here. Pretty interesting ballot, I would say. So, as I said earlier, it's a weird one this year because you got a lot of newcomers and you have a lot of potential guys who have been on for a while that could finally make it because there's not a lot of newcomers that are taking away the votes from them. So, with that said, as we said, you get between 0 and 10 votes. I went ahead and gave out 6, and my first one right off the bat, newcomer Bobby Abreu. I believe Bobby Abreu is not without a doubt a Hall of Famer, but has a very strong case for the Hall of Fame. Something I definitely wanted to point out with Bobby Abreu is actually a tweet from Jeremy Frank on Twitter, which I saw the other day and convinced me of Bobby Abreu's Hall of Fame case. Now, I've always been a fan of Bobby Abreu, but he's kind of been like one of the most boring good players in baseball history, if you think about it. But listen to this stat here. Bobby Abreu in his career was on base 3,979 times. He had 921 extra base hits, 400 stolen bases in 2,425 career games. Now let's compare that to another Hall of Famer, Mr. Padre Tony Gwynn, who was on base 3,955 times, 736 extra base hits, 319 stolen bases in 2,440 career games. Abreu better than Gwynn in all of those categories. Of course, Gwynn a much better hitter all around, but just gives you a little perspective on Bobby Abreu and his case for the Hall of Fame. The next one and the next two actually are, I'm sure, going to stir some controversy here in the studio, but I'm sorry. It's time to let Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens in the Hall of Fame. These guys are they are the greatest pitcher and hitter of their generation. Steroids or not, it doesn't matter. It was an era of baseball. We need to accept that it was an era of baseball and move on. And these guys were the best players in that era of baseball. Barry Bonds, I don't think I will ever see another hitter as feared and as just unbelievable as Barry Bonds. The man saw one pitch a night, and he would hit it out every time. Home run champion, has the record for highest OBP in a season. Something we're never going to see again. I mean, are we ever going to see someone with a 609 on base percentage in a season? It's just absolutely ridiculous. Roger Clemens as well, just an absolutely fantastic pitcher. And I know we did talk steroids do a lot more for a pitcher than they do for a hitter, but I think it's just time to stop the weird division between people who think they should be on the Fame and shouldn't, and just put them in the Hall of Fame. Put a thing in the museum that says, look, this was the steroid era. It happened. We need to accept it and move on and just be done with it. So those are my first three there.
Who was your third? Clemens, Bonds?
Clemens, Bonds, Abreu are my first three.
Abreu.
Yes, they're my first three.
Abreu was never popped for pads.
I'm not talking about Abreu. I'm talking about Bonds and Clemens.
Oh, no, because there was suspicion of him. That's why I thought you were also...
There was suspicion, but...
I just thought you were referencing him with the... You know what I'm saying?
No, I know what you're saying. I definitely understand that there's suspicion with him, but he's like he's kind of like a Mike Piazza, you know what I mean? Or a Jeff Bagwell.
I don't think Abreu ever did it.
No, I don't either. No, I don't either. But I'm just saying, I mean, he's like one of those cases where it was like, oh, everyone else is doing it. This guy's really good. Is he also doing it? You know, something like that. Fourth guy on my list, and one that I think everyone here in the studio agrees with, but one that a lot of writers don't agree with, and that's Curt Schilling.
The greatest postseason pitcher of all time. That's greatest who headlines my ballot, as you will find out later on.
It's absolutely ridiculous that Curt Schilling's not in the Hall of Fame, and let me just put this out here, okay? It's not the Hall of very nice people, okay? This is the Hall of Fame. I don't care that Curt Schilling may have made some inappropriate comments.
Look, if he was a jerk
ESPN
during his playing career, that would be different,
right?
Because it's about sportsmanship. But it's like this is after his career.
Yes.
Like Schilling deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the greatest postseason pitchers of all time, if not the greatest. He would have won Cy Youngs if he wasn't pitching behind Randy Johnson in Arizona for 3 seasons. He finished runner-up to him 3 times in a row.
Exactly.
One of the greatest pitchers of his generation. He absolutely deserves it.
He 100% deserves it. It's a joke that he's not
I will get into that a lot more when I discuss
yes,
my ballot,
please
especially
do.
after watching him as a Red Sox fan.
Oh, of course.
I have. Yes, I will. I will talk about that
yes,
later.
Please. It's just it's an utter abomination, and understandably, we know why this is happening. I mean, we're talking about the same guy who tweeted an article on Twitter of how to tie a noose and tagged all of the baseball writers. I mean, this isn't exactly the classiest of people now that he's out of the game. But like James said, he was not a jerk while he was a player, and I don't care what he said. And I don't care what his political views are either. The man belongs in the Hall of Fame. Simple as that. The last 2 people on my list are let's talk about Larry Walker first. And actually, I'd really like to use this as a little bit of a discussion between all of us. First of all, do all 3 of us have Larry Walker on the ballot?
Yes.
Do you have him on the ballot?
No.
Oh,
that's
my
a
goodness.
crying
That
shame.
is
Larry Walker is a Hall of Famer.
That is sad.
Larry Walker is a Hall of Famer.
Sad.
This
You
is
know
his
what?
last year on the ballot.
We're going to get into my
Larry
Hall of Fame
Walker's
ballot
a
later
Hall
on.
of Famer.
We're going to get into my Hall of Fame ballot later.
All right, that's fair. But let me give my case for Larry Walker real quick, and I'm sure James has some thoughts on this as well, because we both agree that Larry Walker's a Hall of Famer. Let me first say
have
this.
the same things as me.
We probably do.
Yeah.
But let me say this. Larry Walker, and this is directed right to you, Robbie. Larry Walker has a higher career WAR than Mr. Derek Jeter.
Yep, that's
Yep.
exactly. That's what I was gonna go to too.
But
Yep.
not only does he have a higher career WAR, he did it in almost 800 fewer games. 800 fewer games. Larry Walker, more valuable player, wins above
left field rather
replacement,
than shortstop.
and play left field. That's what I'm saying.
Was he a right fielder or left fielder for the?
He was a left fielder for the
left-
primary of his
okay,
career.
yeah,
Yes,
that's what I
yes.
thought.
That's what he also played when he went over to St. Louis.
Yeah,
in
no,
his
I
career.
I feel like he played right field for a few seasons with Montreal.
He probably did until
Or
they realized he
Colorado,
couldn't field at all, and then they threw him over there. But yes,
Sure.
Larry Walker, unbelievably talented man.
You want to know
He needs
also has
to
a
be in the
higher
Hall of Fame.
WAR than Derek Jeter?
Go ahead.
Since we're getting
Go
into
ahead,
this.
tell me.
Kurt Schilling.
Wow, look at that. And he's
a
not in the Hall of
pitcher.
Fame.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
2 positions there. It's much harder to get the WAR points for. There is pitcher, or I'm sorry, left field and pitcher. So I don't know. I'm just saying that's something to keep of note as we go on with some of the other people on this ballot. Another guy on my ballot that I do want to give some love to real quick is Billy Wagner. I know a lot of people don't have him on their ballot, and I would not be surprised if he doesn't make the Hall
I
of Fame.
will get into this later.
Okay.
I am very heated that Billy Wagner's not a Hall of Famer.
You think he should be as well?
Absolutely. He's
Okay.
6th in the all-time save list.
Oh my
How is he
gosh.
not a Hall of Famer? If he was on better teams, he'd be a Hall of Famer.
I agree.
He was phenomenal.
He was phenomenal. He was one of the most phenomenal left-handed
He threw
relievers of
gas
the generation.
for a while. Nobody knew who he was because he played on some bad teams.
Oh my
He
gosh,
played on
yes.
some bad teams. That's
Terrible
what people-
Mets teams,
Exactly.
terrible Phillies
Yep,
teams he was
yep.
on, terrible Astros
Yep.
teams. Unbelievable.
Where was he in 08? Was he with the Mets?
In 08, he was with the...
I know he wasn't with the Phillies, but
he was with the Phillies in 2000.
he was only with Atlanta in 2010. He made the All-Star team in his age 38 season.
Yes, he
422 career saves, 6th in the all-time saves list. Billy Wagner needs to be a Hall of Famer.
Billy Wagner does need to be a Hall of Famer. The man, like you said, threw absolute gas.
He's
he was
6th in the all-time saves list. I think that's all you need to go.
422 saves in the career. I mean, come on. Put this man in the Hall of Fame.
I looked at
And
the
I'm
all-time
sorry,
saves list yesterday, and only one of the top 5 wasn't in the Hall of Fame.
2008, he was with the Mets, by the way. You were right about that.
All-time saves list. Let's see.
I also forgot he spent 2009 half of the year with Boston.
He was decent.
Yeah, I did forget about that. And then finished his career with an All-Star appearance in
In
Atlanta, at age 38.
He had 1.38 ERA in
Yeah.
2010. I do remember that.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Well,
All
I mean,
right,
look
let's
at
hear.
the peripherals.
Let's
I
go.
mean-
The all-time saves list.
Yeah,
number
go ahead.
1,
Read that
Rivera.
down.
Mariano Rivera. Number 2, Trevor Hoffman, Hall of Fame. 3, Lee Smith, Hall of Fame. 4, Francisco Rodriguez, K-Rod, could be a Hall of Famer one day. 5, John Franco, not in the
a
Hall of Fame.
Famer.
6, Billy Wagner.
There you go.
I'll go down the list a little more. 7, Dennis Eckersley. 8,
In
Joe
the Hall of
Namath.
Fame.
9, Jonathan Papelbon. 10, Jeff Reardon. 11, Troy Percival.
Wait. Jim Papelbon's top 10?
Yeah. somehow.
368,
That's
number
wild.
10 of all
I
time.
I know he's the
Number
Phillies
9,
franchise
number 9
leader.
of all time. He's a Red Sox
I
all-time
forgot
leader
about
as well.
that. Wow.
No, Kimbrel might have passed him.
Oh, Kimbrel might have passed
No,
him. That's true.
I don't know.
Still, though, that's pretty crazy. But yes, Billy Wagner, please put this man in the Hall of Fame. I'm not sure how many years he has left on the Hall of Fame, but I feel like he's been on there for a while.
He retired in 2010.
Yeah, he's got a little bit more time.
Okay, so he's got some more time, and he's been slowly increasing every year, which is good to see at least. Last guy on my list, actually, I lied. I actually have 7 here because I'm looking at this list and realize I forgot to check off one of the names that I feel really needs to be in the Hall of Fame, although I'm not sure if he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and that's Alfonso Soriano. There's 4 players in Major League Baseball who have a 40-40 season, and
I was
of
at
the
the
ones,
game where he stole his 40th base at RFK.
Were you
in
really?
06, I was.
That's fantastic. Oh my goodness, what year was that?
06. It was his
06?
only year with the Nationals, yeah.
And he did it that year. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right about that. I forgot. And was he still a second baseman at that time?
Outfielder.
He's still outfielder at that time. Okay, yeah. But no, Alfonso Soriano was a fantastic player. Career numbers wise, I'm actually not sure. I'm just remembering the fact.
Career numbers wise, he doesn't add up. That's why I don't.
Yeah.
Isn't this his first year? Or is this
It's his first year, which is the reason I didn't have him on my original ballot. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. I just don't think he should be first ballot. If I was actually voting for this, I probably.
What do you think about
wouldn't
Josh
put him down.
Beckett?
Okay, so Beckett's interesting because you look at a guy who, one, led a team to the World Series in 2003 and also had those dominant years with the Red Sox as well. I mean, not to mention a very good end of his career with the Dodgers. Career number-wise, though, I don't know. Is he over 200 wins? I don't remember.
No.
138.
138. It's a little too low for me. That's the only problem. And you know what? When it comes to pitchers, especially starting pitchers who are around for a while, who are very good for a while, I feel like you got to hit one of the big milestones, like a certain number of strikeouts or 200 wins or whatever it may be. I think he just misses it for me. I definitely wouldn't put him as a first ballot. But yeah, that's going to round out my list. Like I said, Alfonso Soriano, I probably wouldn't vote for if I was basing this just on who I think should be on the ballot this year and who I think should be a first ballot, because I definitely don't think Soriano should be a first ballot. But please, for the love of God, Wagner and Walker need to get in, and Abreu, I'd be cool if he's first ballot. If not, he'll make it eventually. And my big ones, Bonds and Clemens. Look, the steroid era happened. Accept that it happened. And look, can I also say, that was the most exciting time in baseball in the last 20 years. That was unbelievably exciting.
Andrew Snaith,
Yes.
for those listening who did not catch this, we have a notable absence on your ballot.
You do have a notable absence on my ballot. And when it comes to that notable absence, I think it's going to be best to ask the
Mr.
person sitting
Senior
next to
Robbie
me,
Cruz.
Mr. Robbie Cruz,
think?
who he thinks that significant absence was for my ballot.
You could already
So are we going to get into the actual ballot or
So how about we do this? Since we all know what's about to happen, how about Robbie reads his ballot, give some cases for the other players? So I believe he has 4. Is that correct?
Yes,
And
I
then
have
do you want me
4.
to read mine and then we
Good.
get
And then you can read yours, and then we'll have a discussion about a certain
I
player.
have 10 because I would want to fill up the maximum.
That's fair.
10?
You can
Yeah,
fill
you
up
can
to
do 10. 0 to 10.
Okay.
All right. I mean, hey, you
So-
can do it.
Time for the actual ballot, folks.
Oh,
And
the
this one's-
actual ballot.
This one's actually not going to put you to sleep.
All right, let's go.
So, when going into the Hall of Fame, I am not very lenient with my players. I
Okay.
have very strict guidelines
Sure.
for them. If you are a hitter, actually, let's start off this way. Either way, if you're a hitter or pitcher, you got to be clean. That's my first guide. That's my first rule. Second, let's talk about the hitters.
Let's do that.
You need either at least over 3,000 hits, 400 or more home runs, 2 or more MVPs, or 5 or more Silver Sluggers. And I prefer if you have at least 2 of those categories.
Okay, Andrew's only
And-
had the first one and he barely got the first one.
That's why he and I disagree with a lot of this.
Right. Well, that's why
Pitchers.
it's okay that he's off his
Pitchers.
ballot because he wasn't
Pitchers.
never the best player on his team.
Okay, all right. Let him talk. Let him talk. We'll talk about it.
Pitchers. My guidelines, you need at least 200 wins, 3,000 strikeouts, 3,000 innings, over 400 saves, or 2 or more Cy Youngs.
Okay, I'd agree with that.
Now,
That's fine.
I go through this list and I gotta say, Josh Beckett, are you kidding me? Couldn't even get 200 wins, didn't get 3,000 innings, or 3,000 strikeouts. Like, are you kidding me? Or like, really? Are you kidding me? James, are you kidding me?
I didn't put him on my ballot.
I didn't put him on my ballot
I
either.
didn't vote for him.
No one did.
Larry Walker, did he
Yes.
get 3,000 hits? No. Did he get 400 home runs? No.
Was he a more valuable player than Derek
Did
Jeter?
he get the silver sluggers? No. So,
I think he has more Silver Sluggers than Jeter.
He does.
I know, but Jeter fulfills a lot more of these
Oh,
categories than
of
Larry
course.
Walker
Okay,
does.
well, this isn't like
Now,
the holy grail
you know what?
of categories.
Wait. It's my turn, isn't it?
It is your turn.
So, I look through the roster of the Hall of Fame ballots, and I see my first one is Mr. Derek Jeter. Look at his career
Who?
over Derek Jeter.
Who's that?
Over 3,000 hits, 4 Gold Gloves, 5 World Series, 5 Silver Sluggers, a World Series,
World
and
Series
an
mean nothing
All-Star
in
Game
baseball. Sorry, what was that?
MVP. How about Andrew? How about all that other stuff I just said?
Well, I just want to point out that winning a
World Series-
championship in baseball means absolutely
benefited from playing on
not
such a good
not the
team.
World Series. We're talking about the Gold Gloves, the amount of hits that he's
Oh,
gotten.
the Gold Gloves that he won with a
about-
negative defensive WAR?
How about
those
this?
ones? That's right.
Hey, an award is an award. Hey, how about the 3,000 hits?
Oh, the 3,000 hits. Wow.
What's your counterclaim for that?
My counterclaim is he was never the best player
Wow,
on any
wow,
Yankees
wow.
team
He's got
ever.
nothing.
Are we just
He's
going to
got-
get into this
he's
now?
got nothing to
Okay,
say
here
about
we
the
go. Here we go.
3,000 hits. He's got
Derek
nothing
Jeter
to-
is one of the most
Okay.
overrated players of all time.
This is a Red Sox fan saying this, by the way.
Okay, look, I put him on my ballot. I put him as a first ballot Hall of Famer, Robbie. There you go. Are you happy?
Yes, he's
I
a
put
Hall
him
of
on my
Famer.
ballot, but he's still one of the most overrated players of
Wait,
all
wait,
time. He's a terrible defender.
Wait.
He's never the best player on his
I
team.
have a question. So, whose turn is it to reveal their ballot again, James?
We're talking about Derek. I thought we were going to get into Derek Jeter now.
No, we were
Let him
talking
do his
about my
ballot.
ballot.
We'll talk about Jeter because we both got a lot to say about Derek
All right.
Jeter.
Yes, Jeter's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
As I put on my
Wait,
ballot.
hold on.
Second.
Unanimous or no?
I'm still saying yes. I think he should be.
You don't think? And this is a serious question.
Isn't it my?
Do you
wait,
think?
Hey, time out. My turn.
Yeah, I'm asking you a
We're not
question.
talking about Derek Jeter.
No, I just want to ask you a question.
Yes.
You don't think that there is a single baseball writer out there who's going to say no? You
I'm
think
not
every
saying-
single baseball writer thinks he's a first ballot Hall of
I'm
Famer?
not saying that's going to be the case. I think that's what should happen.
But what do you think is going to happen? He's going to make it first ballot. We all know that.
There's probably going to be one guy that says no.
Exactly. One guy said no to Griffey. One guy's saying no to Jeter. But anyway, go ahead. Continue.
Nobody said no to Rivera, but
Oh, yeah, okay.
second on my ballot is the guy that you mentioned last time, and that's the closer Billy Wagner.
Good, we all
He
agree
is
on
a
that.
Hall of Famer. Fulfilled that over 400 career save margin to me. I'm going to go with him. Another guy on my ballot that I'm surprised you guys haven't touched on yet is that first baseman, Paul Konerko.
Okay.
I have him on
over,
my. I do have
over
him on mine.
400 home runs. I think he belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
Probably the greatest White Sox to ever live. Unless you think of anybody better.
Who's Frank Thomas?
I think
Carlton Fisk.
I thought he was
Okay,
better than Frank
fine.
Thomas and Carlton Fisk, but that's up for debate. And last but not least is quite an obvious one, and that's Mr. Kurt Schilling. I look at over 200 wins, over 3,000 innings and strikeouts, and an ERA of 3.46 for his career. I don't think that you can turn that down. There's no way that he doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, and I think it's an absolute disgrace that he hasn't been elected in quite yet. Like I said, though, I would elect guys like Bonds, possibly.
Wait, I thought you said that to be clean for your credentials.
That's
you
what I'm
would elect Bonds?
If Bonds was clean, yes. Yes.
If Bonds was clean, he would have been a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Exactly.
Same with Clemens.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I can't vote
But the
for
thing
these
is,
guys because you
if
have to
one
be
of those guys does get in, then they all need to get in.
Exactly.
Like I think it's an all or nothing sort of principle.
And also, I think
I'm fine with the principle of
Yeah.
if you don't want to vote anyone in because they did steroids, that's fine. But once one of them gets in, I think all of them need to get in.
And also, you have to look at the fact that I'm pretty sure we already have people in the Hall of Fame who have done steroids.
Yeah, but we can't prove that.
No,
like,
we
I don't
can't,
think
but-
Piazza did steroids.
All right,
Like,
what
I know
about Pudge? I think Pudge did.
That's the
Bagwell?
Bagwell might have.
Yeah.
Bagwell might have.
But the point is, my ballot: Jeter, Konerko, Schilling, and Billy Wagner. That's what's going to happen. They are going to be the 4 that are elected in this year, and you're not going to see anybody else. You're not going to see Josh Beckett, Bobby Abreu. Are you kidding me?
Bobby Abreu was a fantastic player.
Yeah, but he doesn't fulfill any of the guidelines that I listed.
As a Yankees fan, what do you think about Pettit?
No, he took steroids.
Wow.
Okay.
That's true.
And you know, as a Yankee
Wait,
fan,
Jason Giambi's not on your Hall of Fame?
Steroids.
But Jason Giambi should probably be like the new manager of the Yankees, right? Because I know Mike Francesca is a big fan of Jason Giambi being the next manager.
Giambi's not a Hall of Famer, and another guy, Bobby Abreu, is not a Hall of Famer, and he played for the Yankees for a little bit. He is not a Hall of Famer.
Robbie, can I ask you about one of your favorite pitchers of all time's chances for the Hall of Fame?
Who?
Cliff Lee. Not first ballot, but do you think he makes it eventually?
It's interesting because before the show I was looking at Cliff Lee's stats. I don't see the 200 innings or 200 wins. I see 138, 138 career
38,
wins. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see 2,000 innings. I don't see 3,000 innings. I don't see 3,000 strikeouts. All I see is one Cy Young award. That's not 2. So no, I don't think Cliff Lee's going to make the Hall of Fame.
That's a shame because he was a fantastic player.
I think
injuries really plagued
him.
him.
If he continued to stay healthy, I think he could have done it. But I'm one of those old traditionalists that is very strict when it comes to putting people in the Hall of Fame. Because to me, being in the Hall of Fame means that you are the best of the best. And the best of the best has to have these really difficult and strict guidelines.
You're either the best of the best or you're Harold Baines. That's all I'm going to say about that. But anyway, James, would you like to give us your list there? And before we get into the wonderful discussion about a certain Yankee shortstop.
Sure. Well, looking at the numbers now, I have decided to remove Cliff Lee from my ballot as I think he's a Hall of Famer on a first ballot. He's kind of a glorified Josh Beckett.
Just
look at the numbers.
He's a left-handed Josh Beckett.
He's very good, and I think he deserves to get in, but not first ballot. So, first, the headliner on my ballot, not the best player on the ballot, but the guy who is most deserving, the guy who's deserved to get there the longest. Both of you have him on his ballot, Curt Schilling, the greatest postseason pitcher of all time, 2001 World Series MVP, 2001 World Series champion, 2004 World Series champion, 2007 World Series champion, bloody sock, 3-time Cy Young runner-up to Randy Johnson, the last right-hander to strike out over 300 batters before Justin Verlander did this year in 2002. 6-time All-Star, was on some very good Phillies teams, brought the Diamondbacks to relevancy with Randy Johnson, was the reason why the Red Sox won in 2004, and was also played a contributing role in 2007. The greatest postseason pitcher of all time, a guy who was tough as nails, a guy who I would go to war for every day, someone who I watched, at the beginning of my childhood, the end of his career. He's one of my favorite players of all time. Curt Schilling, number 38, deserves to go into the Hall of Fame and to get his number retired by both the Red Sox and the Diamondbacks. Number 2, Derek Jeter. I do believe we will touch on him later. I do believe he's one of the most overrated players of all time with a defensive run saved, DRS, of negative 152. Not sure how he won 4 Gold Gloves. Actually, I am sure because he played for the New York Yankees. 5, my bad, didn't deserve any. Still a first ballot Hall of Famer, over 3,000 hits, 14-time All-Star. Was never the best player on his team, but was a reason why the Yankees won 5 World Series championships. He was a model of consistency. He was a class act on and off the field, never got into trouble. I respect that about him. Very well-respected leader, Derek Jeter, Hall of Famer. Happy about that, Robbie? I put him on my ballot.
I mean, he should be on your ballot.
He's overrated. One of the most overrated players of his generation.
He should be on your ballot.
He's on my ballot.
He's one of the best shortstops ever. First ballot Hall of Famer. No question.
He should not be unanimous.
Is he the best shortstop ever, Robbie?
No.
Cal Ripken Jr.
No, I know. I'm just making sure that we don't think that. Because
Cal Ripken Jr. will forever be the greatest shortstop of all time.
Okay.
Who are you going to say?
No, that's fine. We'll go with Cal Ripken Jr.
Who are you going to say?
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
Come on, who are you going to say?
Honus Wagner.
I was going to say
second baseman.
No,
he's primary shortstop.
No, Wagner was a shortstop.
Really? Because Starting 9 did an all-time draft this summer, and they had him at second base.
Let me check where he's played the most career games, but I'm almost certain Honus Wagner was a shortstop.
Keep going with your list.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll look this up. Actually, I have it right here.
I want to look this up, too.
He played.
Wagner was a shortstop.
Yeah.
James, look.
Shortstop. Shortstop, right fielder, and first baseman. Yeah.
I thought he was my mistake. My mistake.
So in that case, can we agree on Honus Wagner?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
He
He was an okay player, huh?
I didn't say he was an.
No, Honus. I'm being sarcastic. He was an okay player. The man was ridiculous.
Yes, no, he's a great player. Bobby Abreu, number 3.
Thank you.
We've already touched on Abreu.
Would you agree, by the way, one of the most boring great players in baseball history?
Yeah, he was just
He was just
he was
like
only
so
a 2-time
average.
All-Star as well.
Yeah, was one of the most with the Phillies, I believe. I know he won the home run derby with the Phillies. I'm not sure if he won.
Yeah.
I think he
I
did,
think
yeah.
Do you think Adam Dunn's going to be in the Hall of Fame?
No.
No.
No. Number 4, Andrew Jones. Someone who was on a Hall of Fame track through the first
that's fair.
9 years of his career with Atlanta, but then kind of fell off when he went to free agency.
He was a Yankee for a little bit, wasn't he?
He was.
At the end of his career, I still think he deserves it. Can you look up his career WAR for me? I looked it up earlier today, but I did not have the numbers down. I'm sorry.
For Andrew Jones?
Yes, for Andrew Jones.
He
I believe it was above 70. 62.8.
62.8.
He had a very good extended run of dominance. Never.
Oh, I'm also going to add him into my Hall of Fame ballot, by the way. 434 career home runs.
Yeah, he has the numbers to back it up.
Yeah, he does.
What was career average?
Career
254, which is going to...
That's a little low.
But the 434 career home runs, yeah. Number 5, a guy who neither of you put on his ballot, but someone who is definitely deserving. He was one of the better players the late 90s and the early to mid 2000s. That is Jeff Kent. 2000 MVP,
Okay.
4-time Silver Slugger, 5-time All-Star. He was he beat out his own teammate Barry Bonds for the MVP in 2000.
The
I'm gonna let you
only
talk.
reason
I'm
he
not
did
gonna say
that, though, was an era where the writers looked at some stats that did not actually. The writers were not looking at slugging
I know,
on
but
base percentage.
I know,
he had
but
more
he had
RBI.
over 330 that year. He had over 40 home
He had a
runs.
higher average, and they liked that, and that's flash. He had more RBI,
You know, he had a phenomenal year that year.
No, he did.
And
Nothing
he was
against
a
it.
very good defender as well. I know he didn't win any gold gloves, but he was a good defender. He was solid for a long time. I think Jeff Kent belongs in the Hall of Fame.
That's fair.
I'm going to let you finish your list before we give our takes.
5, Paul Konerko.
Good.
Okay.
6, this might stir a little bit of controversy. Manny Ramirez.
Oh, wait. A Red Sox fan wants Manny Ramirez in the Hall of Fame.
I do, just like you
Wow.
want Derek Jeter in the Hall of Fame. I want Manny in the Hall of Fame.
But that's a consensus, though.
Is it? It'll
A
be
lot of people agree that
it'll
Derek
be a
Jeter's a Hall of Famer.
consensus when he makes it 100%. Which
Manny
he
Ramirez is
won't.
one of the greatest free agent signings of all time.
Yes.
I was at his 500th
Yes.
career home run game in Baltimore.
Wait,
Probably my favorite baseball memory
didn't
of my
Manny
life.
Ramirez take... Oh, wait, no.
With the Dodgers.
It doesn't matter.
With the Dodgers.
Actually,
He
he
did.
technically never failed a drug test
Yeah.
for steroids. He failed it for a women's birth control drug
That's
that he was
right.
using to mask the steroids.
Are you kidding me right now?
No, I'm not.
no,
That's
no,
actually
that's
true.
actually
No,
what
no,
he was suspended
I
for.
know it's happened, but that's the argument that you're going to use right now?
No, I'm not making an argument. I'm just stating a fact.
Number 7, where was he? Gary Sheffield, over 500 career home runs.
Wait. You have Gary Sheffield on your list, but you don't have Bonds or Clemens? Gary Sheffield did steroids too, and he was a worse player than both of them.
Too many... Yeah.
He was never caught for it.
Yes, he was.
Sheffield was.
Was he ever suspended for it?
I'm pretty sure he was in one of those reports.
I think he was in the report.
If he was on the report, then I'll take him off the
Yeah,
list.
I'll look
you
it
know
up.
why I put Manny
I
on
know,
the list. You
I
know why I
know.
put Manny on
Yes.
the list.
Yeah, there you go. SF Gate. Sheffield tells press about steroid use and his rift with Barry Bonds.
Oh, my apologies. Well, shit.
Yeah, he was one of the Balco guys.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's
He admitted
right, that's
using
right.
testosterone-based steroids supplied by Balco after being introduced to it by reportedly Barry
That's
Bonds.
right. That's right. You looking at Adam Dunn only
Adam
had a
Dunn-
17 career WAR. I mean, I didn't think it was
No,
high,
he does
but
not.
He had more home runs than Andrew Jones.
17?
He had more
Is that
home
his
runs.
career?
I thought
WAR?
it was a little bit higher than 17.4.
Dude, what the heck? Adam Dunn was like a monster. What happened? 17 career
It's because
WAR?
of the defense.
You're going to sit here and tell me Mike Trout had a WAR this year that was more than half of Adam Dunn's entire career WAR? Oh my goodness, that is sad. He had so many years before.
How many home runs did Adam Dunn have?
462.
All right, here's a real question. With a 17 career WAR, if he hits 38 more home runs, is he on your ballot? Because I say yes.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So he could be on.
That's what I'm saying. So he
yeah.
could make it. But 17. I wonder what the lowest career WAR is in the Hall of Fame. It's got to be him if he would to make it. I don't think anyone's lower than
Dunn's
17.
not going to make it.
No,
Maybe
he's not,
Harold
no.
Baines. Is Baines lower? I mean,
No.
I
'cause
hate
he
I
played-
hate making fun of
he
Harold
played
Baines.
for so
but-
long. He played for 22 years.
Yeah, I know, but like I hate
would say
making
his
fun of Harold
career
Baines
was
again.
At least 50. 38.7.
All right, well, that's fine. Harold Baines was just that is like the. I'm sorry, I was not a fan of that inductee, but
That was this past summer, right?
it was. Yeah, it was a good induction ceremony as well.
Got 2 more here,
Yeah.
which both of you already said. Billy Wagner
Good,
and Larry Walker.
Larry Walker.
My
deserves it.
apologies
I did
for
not say
Sheffield.
Larry Walker.
He said it. He said it.
Oh.
My apologies on Sheffield. I completely forgot about the Balco thing.
Yeah,
I completely forgot. I don't know how that slipped my mind because like I have the steroid stuff like all there for everyone. I
Right.
don't know why that slipped my mind. Probably because I imitated his batting stance so much.
Dude, everyone did
Yeah,
that.
no,
it was so
I know.
fun. I love doing that.
Larry Walker.
But yeah, there's my ballot.
No, Gary Sheffield.
Gary Sheffield. Probably the only guy you have an issue with is Manny.
I mean, look, I could see the argument for Manny making the Hall of Fame. I don't think he can.
He's not going to. He's not going to.
Because
It's
here's the thing:
unfortunate.
if Bonds and Clemens can't, then he can.
Yeah, I know.
If Bonds and Clemens do, then sure, I can see it happening. But Bonds and Clemens have to make it before any guys like Manny can make it, or a guy like Sosa or something. And Sosa's going to fall off the ballot pretty soon.
Is he really?
Well, because how many years did they stay on? I know he
10.
retired in 2000.
It's 10.
He retired in
7.
He
I don't
retired in
know when he- I don't
2007.
know
So
when he
how's he
retired.
still on the list?
I'm
pretty. Look up Sosa. I'm almost certain he started in 2007 with the
No, but if he retired in 07, his first year would have been
Rangers.
2012. So he
Yeah,
still would
yeah,
have hit.
yeah.
10
Oh, so his
years.
first year would have been 2012. So he
Yeah.
has a couple more years. I see what
But
you're saying.
look up when he retired.
It was 2007 with the
2007,
Texas
right.
Rangers. Yeah,
It was 2007.
look it up to make sure. He also hit 20 home runs with the Texas Rangers that last
2007.
season. I'm pretty sure. Did he hit 20?
21. Yeah.
21. Yeah.
But steroids.
You think?
Yeah.
But don't you remember his wonderful court case where he went in and forgot how to speak English when asked about steroids? That was a great time. Also, he looks a little different now, but you know what? That's
Bleach
coming
skin,
for another
yeah.
day. Yeah, a little weird.
Are we
A
all?
little
Yeah.
interesting.
My problem with some of the picks that James had, like, I really would love Gary Sheffield being in the Hall of Fame.
I took him off. I took him off.
Right, but Manny Ramirez. I would love Manny Ramirez is incredibly talented, but I can't ignore the steroids. I can't ignore him cheating.
Again, wasn't steroids. Was a women's birth control drug.
To protect.
Look, I will fully admit I'm
potentially-
putting Manny on because I was a Red Sox fan. I'm a diehard Red Sox fan, and I grew up with him in left field.
That's
I'll
fine.
totally admit that.
Let me ask
The
you this,
reason-
Robbie.
On the ballot.
Do you, in a couple years, put Alex Rodriguez on your ballot?
No.
Okay.
I can't.
That's
I
fair.
can't.
Well, if
I
you're
don't care
consistent,
who-
I'll give you
If
that.
Aaron Judge was caught taking steroids, he would never be on my Hall of Fame
See, like
ballot.
the only PED guy I voted for was Manny. That's it.
And Gary
Well,
Sheffield.
my thing- okay,
But you
well,
took him off.
You know, one guy I did want to mention
Because I
though-
was going more by like positive tests more than just like reports.
That's fine,
Like
yeah.
like I know Bonds and Sosa were technically reports, but there was more than that. Like because he wasn't lumped in.
Oh, he
with,
had
like,
a
that-
whole Supreme
James.
Court hearing about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
James, I have a question. When it comes to your Hall of Fame guidelines, do you have a set number that you want your inductees to have?
The main thing I look at for me are like All-Star appearances, MVPs, batting title. Look, not really batting titles anymore, but like All-Star appearances, MVPs, career hits, and career home runs.
Because the thing is, if you look at Jeff Kent, he doesn't have 3,000 hits or 400 home runs.
I know.
Yeah, but you also got to remember that he was a second baseman as well.
He was a second baseman. He had 377 home runs in that era, and
Which-
he was an MVP in that era.
and
And it
also
was never
second
punched.
base.
Just one
and-
MVP.
Yeah.
Okay, but he was on Bonds' team, and Bonds won 4 straight, and he beat Bonds 1 year.
Wasn't
And
he the
was
reason he
never
didn't win 5 straight?
Yes,
right?
and he was
Yeah.
never convicted of steroids. Like,
And
I think
also,
that's an
I
impressive
can't stress
feat
enough
in and of
second
itself.
base. Like when it comes to certain positions in the Hall of Fame, especially
Yes,
second base, you
that's
gotta.
what I'm saying.
You gotta
377 home runs as a
Yeah.
second baseman is like that's
you can't.
very
Yeah, you can't
impressive.
compare him to overall players. You have to compare him to other second basemen, which, by the way, is why Chase Utley will be a Hall of Famer one day. But that's
When's
another.
he up?
What's he up?
When is he on
Oh,
the
he didn't
ballot?
retire until
2022.
2016. So,
Okay.
No, he retired in 16.
2021, I'm sorry.
Oh wait, no,
That would
was
be
it 17? Did he play in
I
that
thought it was
Astros
17.
series?
That would be
I thought-
20.
I thought it
No,
was-
I don't know. It would be. I think it's 2022.
It might have been 17. It was 18 actually. That's right.
Oh, so he's not on for a while.
No. So he's not until 2023. But
You're telling me
he
that
will be a
Chase
Hall of
Utley's a
Famer.
Hall of Famer.
A 65 career WAR as a second baseman? Yes, he's a Hall of
The
Famer.
man didn't even get 2,000 hits.
The man didn't need to get
The
2,000
man
hits.
didn't
He
even
was
get
the most
300
dominant
home
second
runs.
baseman in the game for like a 5-6 year stretch.
The man didn't even get 300
Look at that
career
stretch
home
from
runs.
2005 to 2011 and tell me that he is not the best second baseman.
Like
in
no,
that stretch.
he was, but I think he's gonna go in the Hall of Very Good with Longoria and Pedroia.
But okay, if we're
A
making the argument for
Hall
Jeff Kent
of
though, he
Fame.
has to make it.
No, Dustin Pedroia was more valuable than Chase Utley was.
All right, we're not going
I'm
to talk
not
about
getting
this
into
right
this
now.
right now.
We do have limited time left, so why don't we quickly just talk about Derek Jeter because I know that's what we really all want to discuss here. I before we know this, I know Robbie, you've heard me say this probably 700 times, but I just want to ask it on air. Don't say anything. I just want to ask it on air to see what people agree with, and I think I've asked James this as well. But if Derek Jeter was on a team like the Tampa Bay Rays, would anyone be remembering him as great as they do right now?
I guarantee you they do because
Really?
of 3,465
but
hits.
where's the World Series titles?
Yeah,
Where-
there's no.
No, but
Scott-
no, James. Here's
Paul
the thing.
O'Neill.
Hey, James. Here's the thing. Okay, In my guidelines, did I not say you need over 3,000
No.
hits?
I agree he's a Hall of Famer, but I'm saying I don't think he would be remembered in this way if he wasn't the shortstop.
He
for
wouldn't
the
be
New
remembered
York
some
Yankees.
like folklore legend because he's not.
You're acting like it's his fault that he was a shortstop for the Yankees.
No, it's just like if he put up these numbers somewhere else, he wouldn't have.
That's
been
what I'm
remembered.
saying.
He still would be
It's-
remembered.
It's the
Right, no, he'd
Yankees
still be
thing.
remembered, but he wouldn't be up for discussion of unanimous Hall of Famer.
No, he wouldn't. They'd be looking at another very good player who'd probably get 80 to 90%. But it's this Yankees effect. I also guarantee you that I don't think Mariano Rivera would have been 100% if he wasn't on the Yankees.
No,
Do I-
with those save numbers.
Yes.
No, not 100 though. I guarantee you, if
not
he wasn't on the
100.
Yankees, someone
Not
would have found a
100.
reason to be like,
Well, the
"Oh, he's
thing-
99."
Don't you think that people hate the Yankees enough, though?
But that's what it's supposed to be, though. But it doesn't matter. You're on the Yankees, and this is just. And I'm not saying this is wrong or anything. It's just the fact of the matter is, when you're on the Yankees, there's just a certain thing that comes with that throughout your entire career. You're remembered as a Yankee. You know what I mean? I mean, it's the reason people hate them.
Well, I mean, Derek Jeter can't be remembered for any other team. What do you want him to be remembered
No,
as?
I'm just saying it's a certain stigma that comes along with that. It's you're a Yankee. Like if you're a Yankee once, you're pretty much you're a Yankee for life. You know what I mean? Like you have that with you, especially in that aspect. Like I'm saying, if Derek Jeter put up the career numbers he did somewhere else. Also, I just want to point out as well with the negative DRS.
Did I say what his negative DRS?
Yeah,
was?
you did. It was like
-150.
negative 150. Exactly. If you put Derek Jeter and have him play shortstop for the Baltimore Orioles for what was it, 20 years? He's not winning those Gold Gloves. And look, and also, and I just want to say this is a big thing about when it comes to awards as well, especially Gold Glove, which back in that day was definitely a more, and I still think, a flashy award rather than based on stats. He's not winning those Gold Gloves because the cameras are not on the Orioles, or if he's on the Angels or the Athletics, the cameras aren't on those teams every single night watching him make great plays.
So you're saying that an athletic or Orioles shortstop can't win Gold
That's
Glove?
not what I said. I said if Derek
Because the
Jeter
camera's
was
not
doing
on
those
them.
same
he wouldn't
things.
get the limelight.
Yeah, he wouldn't get the limelight. That's what I'm saying. There's a limelight that comes from playing on the East Coast, number one,
Jesus,
and there's a limelight that comes from playing on the Yankees.
Well, you know what? There's nothing that Derek Jeter can do about that because he was drafted to
No,
this team.
like we're not blaming him that he's on the Yankees. We're just saying that his legacy is inflated a bit because he played for the Yankees and he won 5 World Series as a result of playing for the Yankees. Yes, he was clutch in the World Series. He was Mr. November in the World Series. They lost after 9/11 and let all of New York down. He did everything yes, he was great in the postseason. He was a great player. He deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I just don't think he deserves to be unanimous, and I think he was overrated.
I mean, okay, yes, you're going to bring up the advanced defensive analytics, but he was much more than a defensive player. He did so many great things for the Yankees.
I know. Like I realize that, but like you're talking about like being a unanimous Hall of Famer. Like
I never said he was unanimous.
I know, but I'm just saying like
No, talking
talking
about the claim that he
yeah,
should
yeah,
be.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
he never won an MVP. Was never the best player on his team. Like
I would say never the best player on his
he was
team.
never the
he
best
was
player
never
on
the best
Yankees.
singular player on his team. All the years A-Rod was there, A-Rod was better. A-Rod won 2 MVPs when he was there with Jeter.
Yeah.
He was never the best player on
And in
the
the
team,
late
yeah.
90s, early 2000s, the dynasty was born in 96 because a 12-year-old fan reached over the fence and potentially robbed the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah.
Who hit that
fan
ball?
was
Who hit
was
the ball?
justified.
Who hit the ball?
Derek Jeter.
That fan was justified. That ball would have been a home run.
No,
No,
get out
we're
of here,
not.
dude.
You've seen the
Get out
video,
of
and
here,
you know
dude.
damn well.
It was
that's
a
not the
home
case.
run.
No,
It was a home
no.
run.
Not.
So you're telling me in 2019, if they review it, they call that a home run?
Oh, 100% they did.
Yeah, all right. Maybe if some blind guy's reviewing it, but not if not if an actual umpire is. I mean, I don't know though. Some of the umpires might be blind though, so won't be a problem soon, I guess, with the robots. I don't know. We'll see though. Any closing thoughts on Derek Jeter before we wrap it up here? I know.
Yeah, wait. When is the Hall of Fame?
January, I believe.
January?
Yeah.
And then the induction is in
We'll
July.
be talking about it for sure. I mean, realistically though, what are we thinking? I know that James has, I believe, what, 9? Do you have 9 on yours?
8.
You have 8.
It was
Robbie
8.
only has 4. I have 6. I realistically see, like, beside from what we have, I'm just gonna close with who I think we realistically see making the Hall of Fame. I think it's not a doubt Derek Jeter's making the Hall of Fame. I think there's going to be this crazy campaign for Larry Walker like there was with Edgar Martinez last year.
Oh, can I say someone who deserves to be in the Hall of Fame that's not on the ballot?
Sure, go ahead.
Dwight Evans.
Okay, yeah. I'll buy that. I mean, I don't know about first ballot, but
No, he was off the ballot. Like, he's been off for a while.
I know, I'm saying, yeah. Oh, so you think like a Veterans Committee thing?
Yeah, like he should have gotten in.
Yeah, I could see that.
Nope. It doesn't fit my guidelines. That's all I gotta say.
He's got a higher career award than Derek Jeter.
No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
No, he
wait.
doesn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. That looked like a different number from here. The mic's blocking it. All right, well, yeah, Dwight Evans. I can see that. Sure, why not? But no, who do we realistically see? Jeter, I mean, anyone else? I hope Schilling.
Schilling.
I hope Walker, and I hope Wagner gets some love, although I don't think Wagner makes it this year. I think he slowly works up to it eventually.
You're probably right. We'll probably only see Jeter and maybe Larry Walker.
And also, I also got to say that...
Do you got what? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to say, as someone who's attended the Hall of Fame celebration weekend, it is so unbearable when a Yankee makes it because it's in New York and Cooperstown, they just take over the city and everything is all about that play. Last year, there were so many Phillies fans that were trying to celebrate, and Blue Jays fans were trying to celebrate the legacy of Halladay and everything, and it was just getting rained on the entire weekend with Yankees fans praising Mariano Rivera, and nothing against Mariano Rivera. He's a fantastic player, deserves to be first ballot Hall of Famer, deserves to be 100%. I'm not going to deny that, but it's just so annoying.
Wait, so
Yankees players
if it was in Philly though, don't you think that they would be doing the same exact thing?
It's not though.
No, I'm saying if it was.
What do you guys think the chances are that Clemens and Bonds get in this year?
This year?
0.
Not 0. I'm going to give it maybe 30-40%. They're all up near 60.
Yeah, what do you think
they
they're
just
got to
keep climbing a little bit every year.
Yeah, but they only have a few more years left.
What were they last year? 59, 58?
Yeah, it was something
59.
around.
I'm going to say this year they get up to 65, 67.
Okay.
I'll agree with that. Yeah. I agree with that.
It's gonna keep climbing. As years go on and on, more people are going to be like, all right, fine, they should be in the Hall of Fame. So
fine. Again, I apologize about Sheffield. I feel like an idiot.
No,
my apologies on that.
It was 2004. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm apologizing to the audience more.
Oh yes, I'm sure they're gravely offended.
My apologies
by forgetting Gary Sheffield's use of steroids from Balco. But you know what? With that said, that's our picks for the Hall of Fame, and I think it's safe to say we're going to see 2, maybe 3. Hopefully Larry Walker gets in. We know Derek Jeter's going to get in. The real question is going to be unanimous.
Honestly, I really doubt Jeter gets in unanimously. Like, I really don't see it happening.
My thing is just there's going to be one guy who doesn't think so. Like, we've seen that so many times in the past, so that's what I think at least. But with that said, that's about going to do it here for this edition of Nation's Pastime in the Nation's Capital. Just a reminder, go ahead and follow our Twitter. Get your phone out. That is at NatPastimeCap. You can follow there. All the information for our shows, updates, that's all posted there, along with our shows from the previous days posted in podcast form on a link to YouTube. As we said last week, still in the process of getting Spotify and Apple Music up and going. Pretty soon they're going to be available on there, but as of now, go ahead and look for the links for our shows on Twitter. And with that said, we will see you again next week. We'll be live again from a little bit after 8 to a little bit after 9, as we normally are. For my co-hosts Robbie Cruz and James Higgins, I'm Andrew Snaith. Have a fantastic rest of your evening.